Hey guys, it's Mark from Hallmark Pool Supplies. Last fall I made a video in regards to how we winterize our in-ground pool, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how we open our in-ground pool and get it ready for the summer. And for those of you that have an above-ground pool that landed on this video, I will post a link down below in regards to opening your above-ground pool. For most of us that have an in-ground pool, when we come out to uncover the pool, you're going to see a pool. There's going to be a lot of water and trash, debris on the cover, and we want to pump all that off. So that's the first thing we want to do. So what I like to do is I like to get a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket like this, and we want to get a pump cover. I do sell these on my website, and I will post links down below in regards to that if you guys need to check that out. But what we want to do is we want to set this bucket on top of the cover as such, and then we put the pump inside the bucket. This way we're pumping the water off the cover. If we throw the pump on the cover and don't use the bucket, we're apt to suck water through the cover. End result, you could lower water in the pool. Not to mention you could also clog the pump because there's usually a lot of trash and debris. So by putting the pump in the bucket, if we do have a lot of trash and it's really bad, we can screen this. That keeps that pump free of debris. So this way it'll pump the cover off a lot quicker. And once we get that cover pumped off, then we're going to be able to remove the cover. So now that we've got the cover off, the next thing we want to do is we want to walk over to our skimmer or skimmers, those of you that have more than one. In the last video when we talked about winterizing, most of us are going to use skimmer guards as you see here. What we want to do is we want to unscrew and remove the skimmer guard. Now when removing this skimmer guard, if we've noticed that the skimmer guard looks like this, we're okay. If the skimmer guard was crushed, that means we had a hard freeze, and it was a good thing that you used this, because if this is crushed, had you not used this, you might have had damage to the skimmer. So we're going to take this out. We're going to put our basket in. We're going to do that with all our skimmers. And now some of you guys, especially further up north, you lowered the water below the returns. You've plugged lines and blew lines out. You wouldn't be using the skimmer guard because your skimmer's empty, and obviously you're going to have a lot of water to fill back up in the pool to get your pool started. But what we're going to do now is we're going to show you how we get the system started. And this is a Hayward system using a Hayward filter with a Hayward super pump, and I'm just going to show you how we put everything back together. It's going to be basically doing everything opposite of what we did when we winterized the pool. If you remember in the last video when we winterized the pool and we removed the sight glass, the drain plugs, the caps and things like that, we put everything inside the pump housing. I like to do this because this way when we come out in the spring to get our pool opened, we know where everything is and we're not looking for something. And so I've got everything inside here. We've got our pressure gauge, our sight glass, our drain cap, our plugs with washers for the pump, and the washer for the sight glass. So there's really no order in how we put all this in. However, what I will do is I will start with the drain cap and make sure that the O-ring or the gasket inside is good. Make sure this is good. And then we can screw this on. And this just goes on hand tight because there is a washer in there that's going to make that tight so we don't have any leaks. Then we're going to go to our little plugs here for the pump. These have O-rings on them. We need to inspect and make sure that they're good. And for the older pumps that don't have the O-rings, you need to make sure these are Teflon taped or you will have a leak. In this case, we've got O-rings. They look good. I'm going to be able to put these back in. We've got one plug that goes here in the front, and we've got one plug that goes on the side. I'm just going to put them in hand tight, and then I'm going to get my screwdriver here, and we're going to snug this up, making sure she's nice and tight, because if they're not tight, we will have a leak, and you don't want that. We're just going to walk over here now to our sight glass. We're going to put our washer in, screw our sight glass in, and that just goes in hand tight. We're going to take our lever, which we left in the winter position, and I'm going to rotate it to backwash. Now we've got it in backwash, and I'll explain later. Now we're going to go over to our pressure gauge. We had Teflon tape on it. Of course, we removed it. Now we're going to put it back in. So we want to put some more Teflon tape on that. So I'm going to refresh that, because if we don't, we'll have a leak. And we're going to wrap the pressure gauge with a few wraps of Teflon tape, and we want to make sure that we are going in the same direction as the thread. You don't want to go in reverse because then when you screw it in, you'll unravel the tape. Now we've got that tape pretty good. We're going to come over here and we're going to screw our pressure gauge in. It's very important. We line this up. We don't cross thread it. We get it nice and straight. And then we start to screw it in. And keep in mind, we're only going to put this in, about that much. We don't want to go in all the way. If you over tighten it or go in too far, you can crack something. And if you cross thread it, you've got a big problem because we're going to have a leak. So we just want to make sure we do that. We've got that on. And then at this point in time, for those of you that already have the pool full of water, then we can go ahead and get the system primed. We want to fill the pump so that we can prime. And for those of you that are having a problem with priming or have any questions, I did make a video on priming your pump, and I will post a link down below in regards to that as well. So once we get this filled with water, we're going to be able to shut this lid and we're going to be able to start the system. We need to make sure that we've got our valves open. In a lot of cases, depending on if the pool is higher than the system or if the pool is lower than the system, if they're level with the system, will determine how easy it's going to be to prime. And in some cases, I like to close one of the lines because it's just easier to prime on one line. And once we get it started, then we can open the other line. But this way, we've got this filled, we can turn it on. And remember, I had it in backwash. I like to start it up in backwash. We're going to run it in backwash for about a minute or two. Then we're going to turn the pump off. And then we're going to go to rinse. We're going to turn the pump on. And we're going to let it run for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to turn off the pump and rotate it. And never rotate this with the system running. Always turn it off and always rotate this clockwise. It makes for a better wear. But we're going to now put it in filter. And the reason I started up in backwash and I rinsed it before putting it in filter is I like to wake up the sand. It's been sitting all winter long. So this is a good time to go ahead and get that. And now we've got it in filter. And then you guys will be good to go. Now, some people, if you're due to have your sand changed, like to change your sand when they open the pool. What better time to do that? And if you guys have any questions, I did make a video in regards to changing sand in this very system that we're doing this video on, and I will post a link down below in regards to that as well. So we've got the filter on, and now we can go ahead and turn it on. And the next thing we want to do is we want to get a rag and we want to just inspect, and we want to wipe around our pressure gauge and our sight glass, and we want to wipe around the plugs here and around the lid and just check everything and make sure that we don't have any leaks. And if everything is running good, then we're good to go. And what I like to recommend is to let the pool circulate overnight, and then the next day get yourself a water bottle and go elbow deep. This gives us a mean average of the water, and then carry this to your local pool store where they can test it, analyze it for you, and get you the chemicals so that you guys can get your pool kick started for the summer. And for those of you that have systems lower than the pool, and we plugged the returns because we didn't want all the water coming down to the system when we winterized it, we will have to remove the plugs out of the return lines as such. And then of course, put the eyeball returns in and make sure that we have these pointing in the right direction for circulation in the pool. But we're going to be putting these back in, and definitely the people that lived up north that had to lower the water, like I mentioned before, you're going to definitely have to fill the pool and make sure all your caps and plugs are removed and you've got your returns in, so that way when you do start up the system, you guys will be ready to go. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. If so, definitely hit the like and subscribe button. I definitely want to take the time to thank all our subscribers. We just hit 10,000. Can't thank you guys enough. And remember us at Hallmark Pool Supplies for all your pool needs. My name is Mark, and I'll see you guys on the next video.